So the government has announced merger of three public sector banks, and the former chief economic advisor and your colleague in the finance ministry has been saying this for very long, that India needs at least 5 to 6 strong public sector banks. So do you agree with this, and do you think there would be any more consolidations in the public sector banking space?
For quite some time we have been talking about consolidation, and you saw some consolidation last year with SBI and its subsidiary banks. So now you're seeing one more of them. It was decided that these three banks fit together best. It is important at this juncture, since this question keeps coming up, to note that this is not an attempt to somehow bypass the PCA process or the insolvency and bankruptcy process and so on. This is a commercial decision which is being done on the judgment that these three banks fit together well. Whether it's a good decision or bad decision, I'll let you decide. But this is, the thinking is that this is not a alternative to the IBC or PCA process at all. This is a commercial attempt to create a larger entity that has synergies, and these three fitted together well because they share many things, including their IT backbone.
You partly answered my second question, but I'll still give it a try. One of these three banks comes under RBI's prompt corrective action framework. So can this be understood as a strategy that the government is, this is the way that the government is trying to bring out all these banks that come under the PCA framework?
No. This is not, this cannot be considered a consistent effort to take PCA banks out by merging them with better, larger institutions. This would not.
So what is in the works for PCA banks? If
so the PCA banks, the Reserve Bank is in charge of that process, and they will continue to deal with them the way they do. Now, if it happens to be that in the course of doing these mergers and acquisitions, a few of these entities are involved, so be it. But this is not a case where we are trying to reduce the shortlist of PCA by somehow using this as a bypass.
Sir, do you think acquisition of Dena Bank will inflict damage on Vijaya Bank and Bank of Baroda, as this could be seen, the market reacted very negatively and both Vijaya Bank and Bank of Baroda shares tanked. So
clearly the government doesn't think so. Otherwise, clearly the thinking is that these three entities merge together well. Markets will obviously take a judgment on them, and that is, in a market-based system, they are free to take the judgment, but only time will tell whether the government's decision was right or not. So let the dust settle a little bit, and let the numbers come through, and I think the DFS Secretary Rajiv Kumar will give the full details in the next few days about exactly how this will go about. So as this comes together, you will get more details.
Okay. So one of the things that reforms that is long awaiting in the public sector banking space is HR reforms. So is there any work parallelly going on that side as well?
So clearly there are many issues that need to be looked at. There is a broader issue which simply merging these banks will not resolve. I mean, inside these banks they may have to do some HR rejigging, but the broader issue of what to do with bank boards and other things remain, and we continue to look at that, and those need to be resolved irrespective.